Am I the a-hole for locking the door to my home so my husband's friend couldn't come in? Plus update. My husband's friend has been living with us for about 6 months now. When my husband presented the idea to me about him moving in, I was hesitant, but he was determined to get him out of the streets. Fast forward to present day, his friend got a part-time job at FedEx, then quit a couple of weeks ago because he didn't like how his supervisor was talking to him. He does not contribute anything to our home, doesn't help cook, clean, or watch our children. Our oldest girl keeps an eye out on our toddler more than he does. He will go in our office and spark up some weed, no matter how many times I tell him and my husband that he needs to do that outdoors. Yesterday, I hit my breaking point. I wasn't feeling well as I had a migraine. 3 of our kids had dentist appointments. I don't know about you guys, but getting kids out the door can be challenging regardless, let alone when you're feeling sick from your head pounding nonstop. I go outside with our kids to see that my car was gone. He took my car to go smoke with his coworker. My husband was at work. Furious wasn't the word to describe it. I immediately went back inside and tried to call him. No answer. I then called my husband where he is side, like he was so annoyed with me and said he would call him. I tried explaining to my husband that I'm at my wit's end. We have 6 kids and I get no help from him or his friend. He sleeps on our couch and doesn't even fold his blanket up in the morning. My husband proceeds to tell me that I'm overreacting and that I need to calm down. I ended up locking my front door and refused to open it until my husband got home. However, when he got home, he didn't try to come inside. He took a picture of our door, went on Instagram, and told the world, "Have you ever been locked out of your own home?" I lost it. I feel like I've been more than patient and I can't do it anymore. I don't get help or basic respect in my own home, and I'm constantly gaslit. My husband has a history of getting extremely angry and scary, so I told him he needed to wait until our children were asleep in bed before coming in, as I was afraid he'd come in irate, lashing out in front of them like before. Am I the a-hole how I handled this? Now for the top comments before reading the update. So many red flags. Not the a-hole, but for your sake and safety, I hope there's a safe place you can turn to since your home is clearly not that anymore. I'm in a state where I have no family or friends. He's active duty, so we've been here about a year and a half now. I'm trying to get out of this situation, but I realistically can't just pack up my kids and leave. I have nowhere else to go. Are you in base housing? Can you speak with someone military related that could do something about this situation for you if your husband will not? I'm not in base housing. There's not a base out here for the branch that he's in, but there's another base for a different branch. I'm going to reach out to one of their family advocacy people this morning and see what my options are. My husband has a history of getting extremely angry and scary. Hun, you are in an abusive relationship. You need to get help and to get out of this situation. Call a divorce lawyer. That's the most important thing right now. Not the a-hole, but I am seriously concerned about your safety. For sure. Said it perfectly. OP, your husband is enabling his friend to be abusive to you. His friend is taking advantage of the fact your husband is weak-willed and a flow standing of a husband. Remove yourself from that situation, for your safety and your children. Not the a-hole. First of all, your husband's friend stole your car. If you have the car registered in just your name, I would file police report. Second, I would tell your husband that he either gets his friend to move out, or you and the kids go. I would advise finding somewhere you can take the kids for a bit. Maybe a relative or a friend's home, in case your husband decides to take his anger out on you. If you are ready, I would think about seeking a divorce attorney. You and your children do not deserve to live like this and be treated like this, and it is clear that your husband does not care about the well-being of you or your children. I am so sorry you are going through this. It seems as though your husband feels as though his friend is more important than your family, which is not okay. Not the a-hole. She and the kids should stay. Husband and his friend can get a hotel. The kids do not need their lives appended by this. Also, there are 6 kids. I love my friends and family and would totally volunteer my couch for short term, but I don't have room to house 6 kids even for a couple of days. Now for the little update. So I contacted the base nearest me and was granted an MPO, Military Protection Order for those who aren't familiar. It took a couple of tries to get a hold of someone, but when I did, I freaking sobbed while trying to summarize everything that's been happening to me. She said he will not be allowed to come home or contact me until the investigation is complete. She was extremely nice and sympathetic with my situation, so that gives me slight hope. This is the second biggest step I've ever taken in regards to getting my kids out of here and ending my marriage. The first was locking the door yesterday. I don't know where his friend is, but I put his things out my house late last night and told him to come get it. It was gone when I woke up this morning. I can't describe how terrified I am at the unknown. I'm going to change the locks to the doors within the next 24 hours. I'm also going to sit my kids down tonight and explain why I did what I did and come up with a game plan. I can't begin to describe how thankful I am for every single piece of advice, well wishes, links to resources, even the tough love I received from everyone today. All of it is appreciated, honestly. It's extremely scary not knowing what tomorrow will bring, but it's amazing to know that I have a bunch of internet strangers rooting for me. Next story. Am I the a-hole for my ultimatum about a paternity test? That he could have one done or he could have a family with me but not both? My husband Chris and I are about to have our first baby. A little girl. We've been married for 7 years and we don't fight much. We're both pretty practical, logical people, and we usually find it easy to work conflict out without it getting too heated. Until now. We were talking about the birth and he mentioned wanting the hospital to do a paternity test before the birth certificate gets signed, just to check that box. He talked about it like checking a box at my job, like just so matter of fact. But this isn't like work. Not at all. I felt hurt. I felt like the fact that he even asked showed he had doubt I was faithful. I've always been faithful. He's actually been the only man I've ever been with. We met as high school sweethearts and I'm 100% sure our daughter is his. So I took some time alone to think. And then I told him he could have it one of two ways. I would only want to build a family in a relationship where there was faith and trust and integrity. So if he wanted to build a family together, he could trust that I haven't strayed, skipped the test, and we put this behind us. Or, if he really wanted a test, he could have it. But I didn't want to be in a relationship without that trust. So we could get a divorce. We would set up a custody schedule. He would get the test. He would find out she's his daughter, like I said. And he could have partial custody. He freaked out at me, saying it was insane I was talking about divorce a month before my due. And that he just wanted to be sure and that I was acting crazy. I told him he could be sure if he wanted. But if he did, I would be sure I couldn't stay in this relationship. He told me I was acting crazy. And he just wanted to dot his I's and cross his T's. And how I should know from my job that just checking something doesn't mean you don't trust it. I'm a system safety engineer and I verify designs and implementation for railway systems. He told me that I check every damn wire thrice over. It is not because I expect they're gonna be corroded a day after installing. You just gotta check. I said that the hazards I was trying to address there were reasonable and agreed on by all stakeholders. But the hazard in this situation, if we wanted to talk work, was that I was impregnated by another man. And if that's a hazard he's concerned with, I didn't know why he was with me. Not that my job even is relevant here, because with engineering, it's like trust nothing, triple check everything, have several other people independently checking too. And that's no way to have a relationship. I told him on the phone he could have the paternity test or he could have a family with me, but not both. He told his parents about this and his dad was angry I was talking about divorce right when I'm pregnant with his granddaughter, which is ick. Anyway, I feel like even waiting for my husband's answer is making me reconsider this relationship. I don't know if it's just pregnancy moods, but I feel like I'm falling out of love. Am I the a-hole for my ultimatum? Ask him to submit to a full round of STD tests monthly just to check that box. I'll stay whole. Oh, you're less crazy than me. I would be going through his phone daily. I'd need to be logged into all his socials, and it'd probably also need a tracking app installed as well, just to make sure all the boxes are checked and all that. Which, as I was typing all that, all I could think was, this is so freaking unhealthy. You would become a shell of a person. Don't do that to yourself. Not the a-hole. Reminds me of the post where a man ruined his whole marriage by getting a paternity test. His wife didn't stand his mistrust, so she left. OP, maybe show your husband that post to kick him back to his senses. Edit, your husband is the one ruining the marriage, not you. After being together for 7 years, how can he not trust your daughter to be his? Not the a-hole. He doesn't seem to grasp that he is accusing you of cheating. Unfortunately, these claims often arise when the husband has been cheating and projecting it onto the wife. You should ask him to prove he's not cheating as he's asking you. That is what my first husband did. I never cheated, and found out later he was sleeping with his friends' wives, but had the nerve to accuse me. Of course you are not the a-hole, but do you know why he is asking? I am sure it isn't just to check a box. There has to be a reason. Either he suspects you of being unfaithful, he is being unfaithful and is projecting, or someone he knows is putting stupid thoughts in his head. Before you go all the way to divorce, you might want to look into the why first. I keep trying to get the bottom of it, and all he says is meaningless excuse like, to be sure, or I never thought you'd be one to judge someone trying to do their due diligence, or just want to get all the paperwork and legal stuff done right. Which, why? Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to kick my cousin out? I, 29, live with my pregnant fiancée Sarah, 27, and my cousin Mira, 18. To make a long story short, I've basically raised Mira myself since she was 4 and I was 15. Her parents are extremely negligent, and when I was 20, she ended up basically moving in with me. While she calls me by name and calls me her cousin, we have a father-daughter relationship. Mira is obviously important to me. She didn't get along with Sarah at first. I think she just hated sharing my attention. But I thought they get along well now. Sarah and I have discussed Mira and her situation. And while I knew Sarah thought independence is better, I personally think it's better for her to stay here while she goes to university. A few days ago, Mira came up to me crying and apologizing. She basically said she was sorry for being a burden and hurting me, for not realizing how I felt, and that she would move out and everything. I had no idea what was going on, and when I managed to calm her down, she basically told me that Sarah had talked to her. Apparently, she told her that she's old enough to move out and stop being a burden on me, that she needs to stop taking advantage of my kindness. I got pretty angry, and I reassured Mira that I love her and wouldn't kick her out or anything. I was furious and argued with Sarah about it. Apparently, she thinks I'm letting Mira take advantage of me, that she's old enough to be independent. She even thinks it's such an issue that Mira has been referring to the baby as her little sister, that she's my cousin and I have an actual daughter coming, so I can't keep cuddling her. Basically, she thinks I'm spoiling her with all this, which is ridiculous. That she did it this way because I left her no choice. The whole just a cousin has really angered me. Even if not by blood, she is my daughter. I raised her and love her. Sure, I spent a lot of time and money and whatnot on her, but I would do that for any child I had. Our argument went terribly. I don't understand how can she see Mira as some leech I need to stand up to, and that she did what had to be done. Mira was really happy I didn't feel that way, and obviously hates Sarah now. Sarah and most of my in-laws obviously say she's right, and I need to have appropriate boundaries. Our friends mostly agree with Sarah. Even my best friend basically told me that Sarah's right when I vented. Apparently, I basically forgot my place at It's Unhealthy. I really don't agree with them. But having so many disagree, especially my best friend, is giving me doubts. I want what's best for Mira. And while I personally want her to stay, if it is actually unhealthy, maybe Sarah would be right. Sarah definitely went the wrong way, but maybe I was wrong to not take some of the worry seriously. Now for the top comments. Not today, Hall. Mira is in university. It's great that you're willing to let her live at home so she can get an education and hopefully not graduate with an overwhelming pile of debt. As long as she's in school and working towards supporting herself, that's a young adult worth subsidizing. I find it odd that you know Sarah well enough to marry her but had no clue how she felt about Mira or that she would go behind your back that way. I hate to tell you, but you knocked up the wrong person. Thanks, and I agree. It's definitely a lot better than moving out young like I had to. And I'm starting to feel that too. It's so shocking to me. I never expected her to do something like this. When you write that you spent a lot of time and money on Mira, what does that entail? Because yes, you might be in the right and your fiancé ridiculous. But is it possible she feels neglected and that you are spending so much money on Mira that you are not saving for your goals with her or is financially set for the baby? If that is not the case, I think your in-laws and friends are ridiculous. As you say, she has been a daughter to you and any reasonable parent would take care of their kid. For money, I wouldn't say it's anything super crazy. Like, it's not much beyond normal costs. I do pay bills for us and groceries and whatnot. And I'm happy to help with expensive things depending. For the most part, I pay most of her essentials and she pays for extras she wants. And saves the rest, and I have enough to afford a baby, I'd say. For time, I try to balance it. Every Tuesday specifically for Mira, aside from emergencies. Fridays tend to be date nights for me and Sarah, or at least some time just for us. And every other day it depends. I did always spend a lot of time with Mira, but it's not like I always put her first. We still hang out a lot, but she's got university and her friends, so it's less. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not recognizing my sister-in-law without makeup? I, 33 male, have been married to my wife, 32 female, for 4 years, and we have been together for 10. She has an older sister, Emily, who moved out when she was 18 or 19. My wife, Kate, has a great relationship with Emily. She visits us a few times a month. Sometimes she takes our kids out, and we also do some activities as a family with her, like hiking, going overseas, and so on. We do not ask her to babysit our kids as they have a nanny and my mother to do so. My mother has left her job to spend more time with her grandchildren on her own free will, and we do reimburse her. Now, Emily's a lot into makeup. In fact, I have never seen her without heavy makeup. Even when she stays over, she comes out from her room with full face on and wears waterproof makeup to the swimming pool or to the beach. From what Kate told me, she has been like this since Emily was 13. Over the weekend, our daughter, who is 7, has sneaked into Emily's room when she was staying over and decided to play with her makeup and hide it. That was early in the morning. When I woke up, I bumped into Emily in the hallway while she was looking for her makeup and did not recognize her at all. She looked completely different from what I'm used to. It looked like a middle-aged woman. I have nearly called the police as I thought someone broke in our house, but Kate stopped me. However, Emily already heard me saying, "Who the heck are you?" and is aware I have not recognized her. I have apologized and have explained to my wife and my sister-in-law that I didn't recognize her and thought a stranger broke in, as Emily looks so different without makeup. However, Emily got upset and my wife called me an a-hole for this. Emily left, and Kate is giving me a cold shoulder. My father-in-law and mother-in-law are on my side, but I'm wondering if I was really an a-hole. Not the a-hole. It was a genuine mistake. But you need to have a lengthy chat with your 7-year-old about how inappropriate it is to go into someone else's stuff and hide it. Perhaps something that's a favorite of the child's should be hidden, so the child can see how unpleasant of an action that actually is. I actually think your sister-in-law is a bit of an a-hole here. If she constantly goes around wearing heavy makeup, she shouldn't be shocked when people who know her don't recognize her if she's wearing none. That's the problem with heavy makeup. Maybe it was a hit to her ego that you viewed her as a stranger after knowing her about a decade, but her residual image data in your head is much different from what she looks like without makeup on. Oh, I have talked to my daughter and explained she should not have touched someone else's things without their consent. Apparently, Emily said to her they will play princess dress up, and my daughter couldn't wake Emily up and decided to have a head start without her as she was so excited.